Paving the Way for Industrial Cannabis, an exemplary paradigm on iHemp and UNSDGs 2030. Sustainability and hemp policies can be perfect tools and resources for our government to achieve the UN Sustainable Development Goal Global Indicator, and we have identified that hemp policies can provide great potential for the government to achieve 64 out of 231 goal global indicators. This is an important policy toolkit adopted by Global Consensus 2016. We will be focusing on 4 out of 7 thematic chapters outlined in UNGASS 2016, which is human rights, new trends, international cooperation and development. MHIRA, Malaysia Hemptech Industrial Research Association, would like to provide relevant information to show the potential of the hemp plant with an appropriately regulated setting has great potential to create a transformative impact for our society and our nation, so long as ethical practice and sustainable approaches are kept central by providing an in-depth understanding of how industrial hemp can be linked with sustainable development goals. President, MHIRA, Malaysia Hemptech Industrial Research Association, from Malaysia, Johan Mohamad.
Some research on seeds, fibers, and building materials, including food. In 2020, this year, we also have meetings with the local government, and I personally involved with the Sustainable Cities and Resilient Cities Initiative in Kuala Lumpur. And I'm also the Vice President of CISW Global Club. Next slide, please. So this is an overview about the UN Development Goals. The Millennium Development Goals was introduced by UN in 2007. So provided the international community with a unique review of progress towards the achievement of Millennium Development Goals 8, the commitment to develop a global partnership for development, major initiatives to reschedule or write down the external debt of developing countries for reduced debt burdens, in particular for low and middle income countries. Next slide, please. So unlike the MDGs, which only targets the developing countries, the SDG apply to all countries, whether rich, middle, or poor countries. So the SDG are also nationally owned and country-led, wherein each country is given the freedom to establish a national framework in achieving the SDGs. Next slide, please. I start to introduce the linking industrial hemp and SDG in the Asian Hemp Summit in Nepal. And we have received quite a number of countries who are interested to work on this proposal. We have actually developed a complete document, but today, when we say why paving industrial hemp to UN SDG, we will be sharing the 4 out of the 17 goals of UN SDG. Next slide, please. See, this is a statement made by the World Economic Forum, which states that we must innovate out of COVID to reach the 2030 global goals. Next slide, please. So these are all familiar, those 17 goals, but today or this year, I'll be only touch base on 4 goals, which I will elaborate further. Can we have the next slide? So as you can see, the UN SDG was intent of sustainable development, which is a humane, equitable, and caring global society. In all, a renewed and reframed approach focusing on economic, social, and environmental protection should be considered. So the laws, regulation, and policies on hemp provide the unprecedented opportunity to build from the onset an industrial system. So hemp provides this opportunity for system thinking, a novel approach to its policy with not be only helpful for the plant-related issues. So it is also help in redesigning policies, especially on the non-psychoactive plant, such as industrial hemp. So hemp policies also affect and impacted by several other domains of international law, particularly recent instruments such as Convention on Biological Diversity and its Nagoya Protocol, to the UN Framework Convention on Climate Change or its Paris Agreement. So hemp policy also can be a role in ongoing priority working system of the international community, such as the United Nations Decade of Family Farming 2019 to 2028, or the Nelson Mandela Decade of Peace and the United Nations Decade on Ecosystem Restoration. So rather than trying to solve the equations of the perfect hemp policies and its infinite variables, a more feasible approach would be a step aside. So list of the all different public policies that affect or are involved with cannabis and address them individually while keeping the interconnection in mind. So nonetheless, hemp in and its policy complex of emotional, they represent unprecedented of fundamentals, multi-factional issues. So they required patience, holistic, and of course, enlightened and multidisciplinary consideration. So we at MHIRA, the Malaysian Hemptech Industrial Research Association, would like to provide relevant information to show the potential of hemp plant, which appropriately regulated setting, which has a great potential to create transformative impact for our society and our nation, so long as ethical practice and sustainable approach are kept central by providing in-depth understanding on how industrial hemp can be linked with SDG. So before I move on, I'd like to inform the audience that cultivation of cannabis hemp in Malaysia is not yet permitted. So can we have the next slide, please? Over 80 million people in developing Asia were pushed into extreme poverty last year by the COVID-19 pandemic. So this figure could even be higher considering the inequalities in areas like health, education, and work. As unemployment reaches increase, the region also lost about 8% of our work hours. So the economic impact of pandemic has further intensified the challenges of meeting global development goals. So this is a statement made by the World Economic Forum in August this year. Next slide, please. The second goals is focusing on zero hunger, and hemp is a superfood that is a good cause for protein, omega-3, fatty acids, fiber, minerals, and the antioxidant. So we know there's so many products. I have an opportunity in 2016 and 17 to visit some of the hemp food processing and hemp food business in Estonia and the Netherlands. So number two, I have this, when we're talking about goals, number two, we are talking about the, after decades of steady deadline, the number of people who suffered from hunger as measured by the prevalence of malnourishment began to slowly increase again in 2015. And unfortunately, the COVID-19 crisis has further worsened the crisis. And Malaysia are not exempted from this crisis due to long months of lockdown, have further pushed people to the brink of poverty and unable to feed their family. So little information about our local record shows that as recorded in the 2019 Global Hunger Index, out of 117 qualifying countries, Malaysia ranked number 57 and endorsed a moderate hunger level. Furthermore, the United Nations Millennium Development Goals include a plan to eradicate hunger and poverty in countries such as Malaysia by year 2030. So despite having a comparatively higher GDP to other nations struggling with hunger issues, the people in Malaysia experience higher rates of malnutrition and impaired growth. Poverty, malnutritional in Malaysia have a severe long-term impact on children. There's a 23% of children aged 4 are stunted, with 22% underweight and 32% wasting or thinner than the average. So in 12% of children in this country, Malaysians eat fewer than 3 meals a day, and 97% of households reported that they felt that the cost of the food was too high and it hindered their ability to prepare healthy meals for their children. So between year 2017 and 2019, there were 2.1 million people in Malaysia who were faced with severe food insecurity, and the COVID-19 has increased the hunger rate due to the lockdown measurement, which has caused people to lose jobs and income, some of them even desperate and raise white flag seeking for help. So in order to meet the food security goal for the 4 dimension, which defined by the Food FAO at the World Food Summit 1996 should be fulfilled. So this include availability, access, utilization, stability. Availability relates to the food production and supply, stock levels and net trade. Access incorporates the economic and social side regarding policies focused on income, markets, and prices. And utilization refers to the adequate nutritional and energetic intake necessarily for the well-being and health of individuals. So hemp can be a solution to eradicate hunger in countries such as Malaysia and our neighboring country, Thailand. So SDG goals for end hunger, achieve food security, improve nutritional, and promote sustainable agriculture. These are some of our suggestions. Hemp is sustainable and renewable resources capable of providing immense amount of healthy and nutritional food through its seeds, grains, and the protein source can be processed into various products such as hemp seed milk, hemp seed oil, hemp heart, and hemp seed flour. With the potential of being a staple food, it can be considered a great deal in terms of ending undernourishment and hunger rates. So the food produced from hemp are well balanced in terms of nutritional, and it's safe for both human and livestock, and it improves the nutritional quality of animal products such as egg and milk. So this food could be produced at lower cost with greater nutritional benefit, and it considered as a resilient crop should other food sources see interruption due to climate change. So latest statistics shows that Malaysia is highly dependent on foreign import for animal feedstock. It is estimated roughly 85% of the livestock ingredients are imported. So this is where hemp can drastically reduce the dependency on imported grains. So as for wheat and wheat flour, Malaysia currently imports 100% of it. And the current production of 1.8 to 2.0 metric ton per year may not be able to cope with the future production of 1.8 demand of wheat flour, which will lead to food crisis. So since hemp can be processed to flour, this greatly can be an alternative to enhance our country's food security, especially during the global trade and economic uncertainties during the pandemic period. And with the plant genetic resources, which can be developed by local communities with collaboration with agriculture department, can provide invaluable asset in shaping our country food security for tomorrow. So hemp seed are functional, valuable, and healthy resource besides traditional way of eating hemp seeds product, high nutritional value food and beverage can also be produced. So next slide, please. So next slide is about SDG Goals 3, ensure health, lives, and promote well-being for all at all ages. So currently, the world is facing a global health crisis, and unlike any other, COVID-19 is spreading human suffering, destabilizing the economy, and upending the lives of billions of people around the globe. And the current mental issues that is impacting our society due to pandemic is something that we cannot ignore, especially our frontliners, the workers, people looking after children, elderly, people in isolation, and members of the public. Malaysia has labeled as a country that has the highest obesity problem in the Southeast Asian region and the sixth in Asian obesity, and overweight led to other health problems, including coronary disease, type 2 diabetes, cancer, and even mental illness. So the 2019 National Health Morbidity Survey reported released by the Health Ministry on May 19 revealed that the prevalence of overweight and obesity has just passed the mark, the 50% mark. So every adult Malaysian in either overweight or obese, the prevalence of adult with diabetes is 18.3% and 38.1% have high blood cholesterol. All these three parameters are about double the level in 1996 and HMS. So the prevalence of diabetes in Malaysia has increased to 18.3% in 2019 with 13.4% in 2015. The local University Putra Malaysia Public Health Medicine expert Dr. Nurliza Ahmad said that the factor contributing to obesity can be classified into four categories, namely the food, the physical activities, our environment, and the genetics. Other contribution factors include disease, stress, and medicine. So it has also been found that obese people suffering from non-communicable disease or contract COVID-19 face a high risk of developing dangerous complications that can lead to death if they fail to seek treatment as early as possible. Hemp has a great nutritional value with can help boost our immune system, and the CBD compound has been proven to alleviate stress, which is crucial in this current COVID-19 pandemic. Hemp seeds, at the other end, are a complete protein source, and of course, they contain important minerals like potassium, magnesium, calcium, iron, and zinc. So hemp seed oil is a complete source of all essential amino acids and fatty acids. So the ideal ratio of omega-6 and 3 found in the oil generates health benefits such as greater resistance to cancer, inflammation, and blood clotting, as well as increased metabolism and lower blood cholesterol. So for SDG 3, our proposal will be hemp food can be provide healthier plant-based diet due to protein and essential amino acid. Hemp seed typically contains over 30% oil and about 25% protein with considerable amount of dietary fiber, vitamins, and minerals. The two main proteins in hemp seeds are acidin and albumin. And surprisingly, hemp protein contains all the 20 known amino acids, including 9 essential amino acids, which cannot be produced by human naturally. So history of human alimentation produced that the overwhelming contemporary research shows that the potential hemp-derived products as functional value and healthy food. So hemp seed protein would dramatically reduce the need for animal protein. If we could reduce the consumption of animal protein and replace it with much healthier hemp seed-based protein by 2030, the environment and socioeconomic benefits are literally off the chart. So next slide, please. The next slide is goals number 4, is to ensure inclusive and equitable quality education and promote lifelong learning opportunities for all. So at this slide, as you can see that is to ensure health, life, and promote well-being. So the whole understanding of hemp and industrial hemp, especially in Malaysia, need to be corrected since what have experienced in many other countries that cannabis is always affiliated to marijuana. So next slide, please. I think here we're talking about SDG 13. So climate change is affecting every country on every continent. So it's disrupting national economies and affecting lives. So in Malaysia, we have under MHIRA, we have a climate action division led by me. And most of the documents here are prepared by the team. Thank you for the team for preparing this beautiful content. And although greenhouse gas emissions are projected to drop about 6% in 2020 due to travel bans and economic slowdown resulting from the COVID-19 pandemic, this improvement is only temporary. The climate change is not on pause, so we have to support, like we have recently, the Paris Climate adopted in 2015 is aimed to strengthen the global response to the threat of climate change by keeping a global temperature rise this century well below 2 degrees Celsius. So the UN Secretary General has proposed 6 climate positive action for government to take their action, namely green transition, green jobs, sustainability and inclusive growth, green economy, invest in sustainable solution, confront all climate risk, and cooperation. So our suggestion for SDG 13, which is to take up action to combat climate change and its impact, first will be depending how hemp is grown and what genetic seeds is used. It can contribute to sequence between 10,000 to 20,000 of CO2 emission per acre. So hemp cultivation regulations can reduce greenhouse which has less detrimental impact on the environment and have extremely low carbon footprint. As hemp can contribute in sequester of huge quantities of carbon dioxide during its growth, the territorial repartition of this crop can help existing geoengineering strategies to overcome the adverse impact of climate change and foster climate resilience. So since hemp has a low lignin content compared to wood, it can be turned to pulp faster and easier. So this naturally bright pulp does not need, which is used in traditional paper mills and releases a toxic substance called dioxin into the environment. So hemp has a low percentage of lignin compared to wood. Hemp cultivation and sustainable policy reforms can provide toolkit to help mitigating climate change and tackling current greenhouse emission effects. Hemp policy may not save the world, but it has a great potential role in transforming our planet and inhabitants for the better. So hemp plant also can sequester carbon dioxide during its growth phase, such as hempcrete is classified as carbon negative materials because it absorbs more carbon it emits. So hempcrete insulation has been known in many countries, such as Canada and Australia. So next slide, please. Yeah, so with that, I am Johan Mohamad representing MHIRA. I hope the Malaysian government will permit for a research, and I wish all fellow Thai and Global Cannabis Hemp Network a great session forward and beyond. Selamat sejahtera. Thank you.